Hey guys, I'm Dr. J.
I'm Dr. I, and this is Second Opinion with the Twin Doctors, and it is my favorite part of this whole thing. Doctor, can you give me the news?
What's in the news? This week is sleep paralysis. Now guys, that is when your body is still asleep, you're paralyzed, but your mind is awake. And your mind, once awake, it causes auditory and visual hallucinations. You hear things, you see things, monsters, demons, warlocks, they jump on you, they choke you. It is horrifying. Now, research has known for years that this affects about 10 to 30% of people, but we never knew why. Now there's research out that answers the why. Basically, when you have disrupted sleep cycles, you're more prone to sleep paralysis. What does this mean? People with obstructive sleep apnea, people who travel a lot and have jet lag, people who work night shifts, and people who have poor sleep hygiene are all susceptible. What can you do? Number one, if you suffer from sleep paralysis, get a sleep study. If you have obstructive sleep apnea, it can be treated. Number two, if you at all can, go to bed at the same time every night. Number three, sleep hygiene. That basically means before you go to bed, no television, no phone, no computer. And if you use them, use blue blocking filters. And lastly, set the room temperature to 67 to 69 degrees Fahrenheit for optimal sleep. And if you do that, less sleep paralysis. And that's what's in the news. And now on to our main topic. Eat smarter, lift harder, decoding nutrition labels. Guys, these are the stats. America is big. Over 40% of Americans are obese or overweight. Big bag, big bag. Another stat for you guys, over 40% of Americans do not eat a nutritious meal. Do you think there's a correlation between not eating a nutritious meal and being overweight and obese? I think so. And last fact for you, only 9% of Americans know how to properly read a nutrition label. 9%.
That's a nutrition label.
Exactly. So do you think that if we knew how to read nutrition labels, we might make better choices? And if we made better choices, we might be healthier? I think so. To help us discuss, we've got some amazing guests. First, Diana. I want to call her Diana. Has she got it? Yes, Diana. And she is a registered nutritionist and a registered dietitian, and she's going to get into it with us. We also have the Twin Towers, and you'll know exactly why we call them the Twin Towers in a few minutes. All right, so the long and short of it is the American diet is not great. Americans aren't healthy. We're bigger than we've ever been. And I think it all comes down to the fact that we're not eating well because we don't know how to eat well.
You think?
I think so. So we've got somebody to help us crack the nutrition label code. This is Diana. Well, see, I call her Diana, but she said it's Diana. It's Diana.
With a J.
With a silent J. And she is a board-certified registered dietitian and nutritionist. Not just any dietitian, not just any nutritionist. She is the lead dietitian and lead nutritionist at the Wellness Group in Illinois. So thank you for joining us. Now, I'm going to start with what I would have thought was a stupid question, but then I actually did some research for the show and I realized it's a stupid question. But what is the difference between, because I'm sure a lot of people don't know.
Yes.
What's the difference between a registered dietitian and a nutritionist?
I love this question. So first of all, a registered dietitian is a regulated term. So we have to go through undergrad. We also have to get our master's. We have to complete our internship. We have to take a board exam. So all these steps that make us a registered dietitian versus you two can probably call yourselves a nutritionist. So it's not a regulated term. So that's probably like the most basic way I like to explain it.
Can just call yourself a nutritionist.
Yeah,
I got an education.
Everyone's a nutritionist.
So to call yourself a nutritionist, do you just call yourself a nutritionist, or do you have to at least do some course, a weekend course, get a certification, or just I could call myself a nutritionist?
I mean, if you have like those certificates, I know there's a lot of different ones where it's kind of like a health coach or like a nutrition school online type of thing. Yes, but there's a lot of regulations as far as what you're able to do with that certificate. So I know I kind of loosely said it and, you know, anybody can call themselves a nutritionist, but it's interesting because overseas, that's what the regulated term is. Versus here, it's a dietitian. Yeah.
So for all intents and purposes, you probably want to see a dietitian.
Yes.
Okay.
Do not call us a nutritionist.
Okay.
We're going to just walk out the door.
Do not call me Diana and do not call me a nutritionist.
Yes, exactly.
I am now a nutritionist. Okay.
Yeah.
So food labels, right? We think they're simple, but they're pretty complicated, at least to me, but maybe I'm simple.
Yes.
What are the key components? She's like, yes, you are simple. What are the key components of a food label?
Yeah, so I like to keep it simple. So start with the serving size. That gives you a really good baseline of everything else to look at. And then you can look at the calories, you can look at sodium, fiber as well. I also think it's helpful to look at the ingredients. Not to fear them, really. It's just so you're aware of what you're eating. So if you recognize mostly whole foods in there, then that's usually a good sign.
Can I ask you a question? Why are the serving sizes so small? Who can I complain to about that?
I know,
Could that be you?
but honestly, do not look at that as like, oh, I can only eat that. That's too restricted. Like, you're not going to tell me how much I can and can't eat, you know?
Well, I feel like the serving sizes aren't realistic anyway, because they want the numbers to look right. So they say serving size 3 chips. Well,
I open the package.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I eat 2 of them before the package is even
Exactly.
open. Don't ask me, and it's a trick I can show you later. But okay.
Yeah.
So when we're looking at nutrition labels, I think most people tend to look at the ingredient list, right?
Yes.
So we're looking at the ingredient list. And I've always wondered, how do they determine how they're going to list things on the ingredient list? Is it just alphabetical? Is it willy-nilly? Or is there some significance in the order that things are placed on the ingredient list?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So they're going to be listed in descending order by weight. So whatever makes up most of the product will usually be listed first. So with that being said, some things to look out for would be like refined grains or sugars. If you see that up at the top of the product, like in the beginning of the ingredient list, then that's something that I would call like a sometimes food or a treat food. So you kind of want to be mindful of how often you're eating those foods.
So when things are refined, like you think of refined as a good thing, like I'm a refined
Yeah,
person. That's a good
you would
thing,
think.
right? Is refined good when it comes to food? Do you want to avoid refined?
Yeah, it's not that you want to avoid it completely. Those are just going to be a lot easier to digest, but they're also not going to be as nutritious as your whole grains.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, from my understanding, when it's refined, they've removed a lot of the important stuff, basically.
Yeah.
The bran and
The germ, the endosperm,
Yeah, and that's where all of your vitamins and nutrients and things like that are. So I guess you digest it better because there's less to digest, but you're also not getting the stuff that you really need.
Yeah, you're like you said, you're not getting the fiber, the vitamins, the minerals, and it's going to be a lot easier to digest, which means it can also spike your blood sugar a lot quicker.
So your body can digest it so quickly that your blood sugar is going to spike almost immediately.
Yeah.
Why do they refine stuff?
I mean, usually for the taste, I mean, that also is often what we tend to see. A lot of times they might add it in if fat has been removed. So if we see like a lot of low fat stuff, usually they're going to add more of those sweeteners or starches to make it taste better.
Okay, now I'm going to put on, I'm sorry, just one second. I'm going to put on my tinfoil hat here.
Oh, here comes the tinfoil hat. All right.
Here. No, but honestly, do you think that when they make decisions about refining things or they make decisions about additives or whatever the case may be, is it because the foods are more profitable when they add these things? I guess my question is, are they putting profits ahead of people?
Oh God, welcome to America. Hello. This
Oh,
isn't a
man.
question, but okay, let's have this discussion.
That's a heavy question.
I know.
No, but no, that's an important thing to ask. And I feel like it definitely comes out to marketing, of course. A lot of those foods just taste so much better. So, of course, we're going to want to eat more of them. We're going to want to buy it more often. So, of course, it's like, yes, give me all of these refined grains. Yeah, absolutely.
He's having a moment here. He's like, you've explained his entire life to me.
Talk to my heart. So let me ask you a question because I am super busy. I hate shopping. You used to do that intuition. I'm not going to plug in, but I usually do it remotely. But anyway, so quick hack. I'm going through the aisle. I've got 5 minutes. How can I distinguish something as being healthy or unhealthy?
Well, that's good. I would say look at the ingredients. Look at the label. If the ingredients are pretty long, then that's telling you that it might be more processed. I think also if you're looking at the nutrition facts label specifically, if it has at least, let's say, 3 grams of fiber per serving, that's a good indicator that it's more nutritious. But if it's loaded with a lot of added sugars, a lot of sodium, that might be not so healthy. So you might want to put those off to the side. Maybe save them for later.
So you kind of alluded to some of the ingredients that you would look out for, but and you also mentioned, long ingredient list oftentimes is potentially problematic.
Yes.
It's funny that you say that because I was looking at something recently and it kind of shocked me. And again, I'm putting on my tinfoil hat here, right? It just
You ever take it off?
it just fits so well. But there's a large, I won't say that the company, but there's a large fast food company that operate globally. And their French fries in the United States have 19 ingredients. In the European Union, same company, same French fries have 4 ingredients.
Yeah.
And I found that really interesting. And so when you said, the more ingredients you see, the less healthy the food probably is, it made me think of those fries. So what are some ingredients? You said anything refined, like refined sugars, things of that nature. What are some ingredients that when you see them as a dietitian. I almost
Yes.
said nutritionist. I almost did it.
Boom. I'm out of here.
Exactly. And my name is Diana. No, but what are some ingredients when you see them on the list? Unless you're having a cheat day or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But in general, you see them and you say like, that's a no-go for me.
Yeah, so I don't like to label ingredients or foods as bad because I'm all about, I know we say this all the time, but everything in moderation, but honestly, truly. So some things I would look out for would probably be like those added sugars. So that might be like cane sugars, syrups, or honey. That's telling me that there's probably going to be more added sugars in there. That's usually what I look for. I know sometimes people will be like, well, if you can't pronounce it, don't eat it. Okay, but not everybody knows like the scientific name of potassium or, like let's say vitamin E. Yeah. Exactly, you never know. Everybody's different. So that's why I really like to take the label away and really just trying to focus more on whole foods. And then that way you're likely going to eat less of those processed foods.
So you mentioned added sugars. How do added sugars differ from natural sugars? And why is it seen as such a bad thing? Why is it the boogeyman compared to natural sugars?
I mean, what the research is showing is it's been linked to conditions like heart disease or diabetes. So that's definitely something we want to be mindful of. Again, they're very easy to overeat. And, with those blood sugar spikes, that's also a concern. So really just keeping them balanced. It's not that we have to fear it. And when we consider natural sugars, so that's going to be found in like fruits and dairy
Like
versus.
Like that. Or is fructose a natural sugar?
So fructose, technically, I mean, it's in
fruit
fruits.
sugar, right?
Yeah.
Fruit sugar.
So I know there's so many different variations, but like those keywords, like I was saying with like syrups, honey, that's going to be a good indicator.
That it's added sugar.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then if you look at the label, so now they've changed it recently where it'll say added sugars. So that way you can distinguish how much is naturally occurring versus how much was added during processing.
And in general, the more naturally occurring, the better. Is there a balance?
Yeah, definitely a balance. I think in general, you don't want to fear sugar. It's all about how it fits in your day-to-day routine. And there may be like some purposes it can serve as far as, let's say you're going to work out soon. So you want more of that quick sugar because that's going to give you more of that quick burst of energy. Yeah.
You were saying the added sugars and the not natural sugars, or just not natural ingredients in general, your body breaks down faster. So if you need that quick pep, might be something you want to go for. Okay. So the added sugars.
Yes.
What are there certain added sugars that are more commonly used and ones that are problematic? And I'm thinking in particular,
Like high fructose.
Yes.
corn syrup,
Yeah. You just took my hat.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. But the high fructose corn syrup. But are there other added sugars that are potentially problematic?
Are you thinking in terms of like artificial sweeteners, like aspartame?
Oh, no, actually like
sucrose?
added sugars. Like I know,
Yeah.
I guess my question is, I notice in the United States that pretty much almost everything, if it doesn't have natural sugar and it's got like an artificial sugar, it's always high fructose corn syrup. Right.
Yeah.
And I guess my issue with high fructose corn syrup is, and again, this is my whole people versus profits thing, I guess.
Yeah.
But high fructose corn syrup, I always wonder, why do we use it? Like we travel a lot. And
Yeah.
There's a story to that. You don't know?
I know there's a story.
I was going to say there's a story, but go ahead.
Sir,
Go
don't
ahead.
step on me.
All right.
Yeah, no.
He's wearing the hat.
Yeah, I'm wearing the hat,
My
buddy.
hat.
Only one person at a time. No, but no, there is a story, right? And so, like when you travel abroad, right? You drink Coca-Cola, for example, and it tastes so much better.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it's
elsewhere.
better because we're used to what we're used to. I don't think it's better.
It's
But
just
it tastes
'cause you're on
different. It
vacation.
tastes different.
Yeah, I'm in that vacation for mine, but no, but it's that natural sugar. Like it just tastes crisper, cleaner than doing a Coke ad, right?
Yeah.
No, but it really does. And then here it tastes just different. And I was always I was wondering why, and it's because of that high fructose corn syrup. So then I started researching, why do we use this stuff, right?
It's in the corn industry. It is wood and yes, it's in the sheep. Yes, and so
Why they're cheap though? That's the question.
so they were trying to support the farmers. They're trying to support the farmers, and they bought all of this corn, and they didn't have anything to do with it. And so that's
So that they subsidize corn, and that's that whole people versus profits thing again. The U.S. government subsidizes corn, so corn is super cheap for manufacturers to make because the government is basically paying them to make.
more than they can use.
Yeah, and so then that one that they can use, and then they turn it into syrup, and then they put it in all of our foods. But it's not super healthy, right? And I thought also, when you talk about sugars, obviously there's a concern about blood sugar and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But then what about processing of these ingredients? During the processing process, one creates chemicals that also are potentially, not good for you.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, we talk about processing. I think I was talking about this earlier a little bit. They tend to add more sugar and starches, like for that extra sweetness, because if we're looking at, let's say, like low-fat foods, fat-free, well, that's where a lot of the taste is. So of course they're adding in those sugars to make up for the taste because we remove the fat.
And that is, sorry, go ahead.
It's sneaky. So you have to look at the label. You have to look at more than just what's at the front. You know, it might say, oh, all natural, like healthy. Is it really though?
You just took it out. I was going to ask you that. I was going to ask. So I think that, again, when you're rushing to the aisle and you got 5 minutes, you look for something that says all natural. You look for something that says low fat. You assume that means it's healthy, but it's not, apparently.
Yeah, sometimes. So it can be deceiving. So that's why we really have to dig a little bit deeper. And once you know what you're able to buy, it's going to be a lot easier, and you're not going to spend like 10 minutes literally looking at all the different yogurts, all the different breads. I mean, that's exhausting too, right?
No, it is exhausting after a while. And I always tell people, well, so first of all, the term natural, you know, when it's placed on an ingredient list, is that a regulated term? Well, yeah, I was going to say, is it a regulated term, or can you just say anything's not?
No, it's not regulated. It doesn't actually guarantee anything. So they could just put it on anything and just have you thinking, wow, natural, that means it's good for me. It's a healthier option.
Well, it's funny because I always tell patients, you know, in our line of work, we have patients who want to labor and deliver. And I say, what are your plans? And they say, I want to do it naturally.
Yeah.
And I always think, what does that mean? You know, and I tell them that natural isn't always good. I mean, pain relief is a fantastic thing sometimes, right? I say skin cancer is the natural progression of sun exposure. Not great. You know, diabetes is a natural progression of eating too much sugar. Not great. But yeah, I think that they use that term natural, and you automatically think that's healthy. Much like the term organic, for example. Does the term organic mean healthy?
What? This is a rabbit hole.
Honestly, when I was in school, I was like one of those organic freaks. My parents can definitely. For instance,
did you wear Birkenstocks?
Probably in like middle school, but now they're coming back.
Oh, right.
So you're an organic freak.
But yeah.
I'm sorry, I can take it.
Yeah, no, I was like, I need to eat everything organic because that's healthier. But it's really just, it means it's made without synthetic pesticides and GMOs. It doesn't mean that it's necessarily more nutritious than your non-organic or, let's say, conventional produce. So really, I mean, if you want to spend more on that, that's fine, but it also depends on where do you stand with farming practices, pesticide exposure, the environment, but you don't have to necessarily purchase it to have a healthier lifestyle.
From a nutritional perspective, organic nutritionally is the same as inorganic.
Yeah.
It's more the pesticides, more the farming practices, more the hormone exposure. I mean, I personally do buy organic, but not because I think it's any healthier than something that's non-organic. From a nutritional standpoint,
You don't want to poo-poo the pesticides.
Well, no,
just because,
that's why I'm not poo-pooing. I'm saying I do buy organic because you do not want the pesticides. You don't necessarily want that hormone exposure. But I guess the point is that it's not any healthy from a nutritional.
No more nutritious. You're not getting more vitamins and minerals and things of that nature.
Exactly, yeah.
But the pesticides, a lot of them are what we call EDC, endocrine disrupting chemicals. They can be bad for the thyroid, reproductive health, increased risk of cancer, things like that.
Hormone exposure, same thing. Fibroids, cancers. So no, I buy organic. I'm just saying I want people to understand that it's healthier maybe because of pesticides and hormone exposure and not from a nutritional standpoint. That's the point, I think.
It's tricky, and I also don't like to focus too much on organic produce. I mean, when you consider the average American, not everyone can afford to buy organic produce, especially if, let's say, I'm working with an underserved population. I would hate for them to feel like, well, how am I supposed to be healthy if I can't buy organic foods for my children, my family? So there's a lot of nuance to this. So I'm glad we're having these discussions.
So another thing, and I've fallen for this 100%, but it's the whole grain thing, right?
Yeah.
And you'll oftentimes buy bread, and I've got a bread rant too. Don't forget my bread rant. But you'll buy.
Better get your bread rant.
But you'll buy bread, and you'll see whole grain versus
multi-grain.
Yeah. And I just thought that. I guess I knew that there were different words, but I didn't think that there was any significance in whole grain versus multigrain. But I guess there is. So what's the difference?
Multigrain it just includes multiple grains. It doesn't mean that it's necessarily whole. It's not intact, right? So I'm glad that you brought that up, especially with bread. I mean, the biggest thing that you can do, I know I said this, like look at the ingredients, but if you see that it says whole in front of the grain name, you already know that you're actually getting the full grain. That means you're already getting more of that fiber because it's intact versus processed. Our favorite word.
Here's a question. why is fiber important? So people think I need to poop, I'm gonna get fiber. It helps with that. But fiber has a bunch of other health ramifications and that makes it a this thing. So why is fiber important?
Yeah, I love fiber. I mean, obviously for digestion, right? It's also great for metabolism too. It's going to be a lot slower to digest, so it's going to keep you full longer. And the biggest thing too is blood sugar stability, so they're going to be a lot more stable as opposed to like those quick spikes.
Oh, good cholesterol. And cholesterol, and it's a prebiotic a lot of the time. Yeah, it kind of help you to populate the good bacteria.
So with cholesterol, we really want to focus more on like soluble fibers. So that's going to mean things like oats and fruits and beans. That's what's really going to help bring down that LDL cholesterol, or the bad cholesterol as we all like to know about it. But I'm glad that you brought that up too.
Now, on to my bread rant real quick. I wrote it down, so I want to make sure I get it right. But basically, in Europe, again, and the reason I keep bringing up Europe versus the U.S., obviously, Europe, the European Union, they have very stringent guidelines when it comes to what you can and can't put in foods, and we don't here. In fact, in the U.S., I just learned about this. There's something called the GRAS loophole, which is generally recognized as safe. And so basically the FDA, if a company wants to put an additive, whatever it wants to place into food, they don't have to prove that it's safe. They just have to say, well, based on our research, it looks like it's safe. And then they can put it into the food. And then someone has to come along later and prove that it's unsafe before they actually have to take it out. And so it's called the generally recognized as safe loophole. And so that's why we have so many additives. We have over 3,000 additives approved for use in the United States versus 300 in the EU.
And you assume if it's approved, it's been tested.
Yeah, it really hasn't been. And so I was reading this article, and they were talking about how bread basically has 4 key ingredients: flour, yeast, salts, and probably water. Well, dough is when you put it all together. But anyway,
I don't know.
But the average bread in the United States has 30 ingredients. And again, and then I started thinking, and I'm going on a rant, but I started thinking about all of this gluten insensitivity that we see in celiac disease, and I'm wondering, like, how many of these people are truly sensitive to gluten versus the additional 36 ingredients that you see in the bread. And she's like, what's your question? Well, there's no question. I started with my rant. But okay, so we could go on, and we're gonna have to do this again, because this has been an amazing discussion, and honestly, I didn't get into half of the stuff I wanted to get into.
Yeah.
But if you had to give people some quick hitters, what are some quick hitters you would give people for how to eat? I guess I would say how to eat well if they have 3 conditions. We're going to say diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure. What would be some quick hitters for these?
Yeah, okay, that's really important. I would say balanced meals. So you want to have your complex carbs, meaning more fiber to help with that blood sugar stability, lower that LDL cholesterol. You want to watch out for your sodium intake. So for people who have high blood pressure, ideally under 1,500 milligrams per day, generally speaking under 2,300 milligrams. So if you're looking at the label, one really easy way that you can tell if a food is actually low sodium is if it has at least less than 140 milligrams of sodium or less. So that's also going to be super helpful. But really making sure you have those complex carbs, lean protein, healthy fats spread across your main meals. There is no one size fits all really, because again, it depends on your conditions. But I think for those conditions, if you're including those types of foods, balance, again, you're already off to a great start. So try to think of what can you add to your diet that you might not be getting enough of right now. So that might be your fiber, your vitamins, minerals, some lean protein, healthy fats like nuts, avocados.
Okay.
So that's my...
I agree. We're going to have to do this again. Like, I learned so much from this, and there's still so much more we haven't touched on, but we're going to have to move on for today. But we're going to go for it. Okay, please. Oh, I know what he's going to say. How can people find you?
Yeah, so I do work with you too, of course.
Yeah.
So you can look up my name. I do also take my own clients on the side as well. So I like to really help with a lot of different conditions like PCOS, diabetes, heart disease. Those are usually my go-to. I know it's weird, but I always say I love diabetes. It's just one of my favorite conditions to work with. I mean, it affects so many people. Pre-diabetes, gestational diabetes. I'm also on LinkedIn, my personal social body.
But LinkedIn, people can find you on LinkedIn.
Yeah, absolutely. LinkedIn. I do have a profile like where you can book sessions with me as well. So that also, or there, what's your Diana with a J, don't forget that.
Diana with a J.
Yeah, and then super easy to find me. Honestly, if you just search my name in Google, you're gonna find a whole bunch of stuff. So that's always a good go-to. Having me.
We've talked about the nutrition part of it, and now we're going to talk about the physical part of it. We're going to talk about the exercise part of it. And to do that, we've got Rajan and Ranji Edwards coming next.
All right. Okay, so we had a great discussion about how to eat healthy. We were talking about nutrition labels, but eating healthy is only half the battle. You also have to remain healthy through exercise.
Yes.
So we brought two.
Hold on. No. We are the before, right? We're the before.
Yeah, we're the before.
This is the after. This is the after right here. We got Ragin and Ranji.
Okay, no, Ragin and Ranji.
Ragin and Ranji, are you sure?
They are. We got the twins here. So these guys are personal trainers known as the Twin Towers. I bet you can't guess why. They're from St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands. So when we spend time out there, we would always see these guys in the gym.
And I would just walk over my head and shave.
I would say that I felt bad about myself. I was like, what's going on? What am I even here? So then I realized, you know what we have to embrace is suck. We're going to suck for you guys by showing you what two big hulks look like, okay? And we're going to show you we're not going to show you all their tricks. We're going to show you some of their tricks. So we brought them on. So what we want to do first is we asked them, because we want to look like them, and I don't think that's ever going to happen, but I asked them, what are some simple exercises that people can do for quick gains? Can you guys tell folks, what are some simple exercises that people can do so they look like you by next week?
At home or in the gym? Or
I would say, actually, I could say more at home. So this is the easy stuff.
If at home, it's simple as push-ups.
Everybody hates push-ups.
Well, that's push-ups. You could work your head. You could work your tricep when you go work your chest. So you can go down and work more your front delts, just like this, all in the angles.
So it's all about the form. It's all about
you want to do
form.
some push-ups?
You criticize my form?
Yeah.
I'm good.
Criticize
my form. Criticize my form. What do I do?
Okay, yeah, right where you're doing it fine. You're hitting more chest.
Okay.
But if you tuck your elbows in some more,
Elbows in, so like that?
yeah, you're gonna hit tricep and you're gonna target double tricep. And it's much harder that way. Now, if you want to work the inner chest, that's when you bring your arms closer, your hands close to each other, and also hit the tricep even harder that way. Yeah, that's really hard.
So when you're doing the push-up, if you want to get the inner chest, you bring the hands closer together.
And you can flare your elbows out slightly, so you can get the inner
Oh,
chest.
geez, I can barely do this.
But you're gonna overload. You can overload harder. your tricep too. That's
Okay.
much harder.
I've overloaded my triceps.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right, so that's chest, that's triceps. What about biceps? What are some?
Biceps. That's
Curls.
my okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me
Not that you guys know anything about biceps.
It's
but
the specialty.
Look at that. He's like my specialty.
Okay, when I do biceps, people don't know I tuck my thumb behind. The reason for that, I eliminate the forearm and more activation of the biceps. So most people will do this, and some people have a swinging motion. So I restrict the elbow. Let's drop the shoulders, and I just more movement from the elbow. So the more movement you do with your wrist, the easier to make the lift. So if you keep your wrist neutral, squeeze here, you get more bicep.
So when you rotate the wrist, you're kind of cheating.
Yeah. It's kind of, when you reach like a heavier weights, you will see. I would do it too. I call it creative cheating, right? The reps. So then when you use it with big dumbbells now, you obviously you can't do like this unless you're a clown. There are many in the world.
Yeah.
So when you're like here, after I clear my thigh, I turn and I focus on that bicep. Bam. When I come back again, clear. Bam. Squeeze. Bam. Squeeze. So don't feel it. You could do this all day, but it's still not working.
You should keep doing you should kind of bring it down to the side.
Yeah, because when I go into the side, I keep my shoulder. Because the thing is, you could use your shoulders to cheat too. People don't know you could like face the shoulder. You gotta bring your shoulder here. So when I tuck it, deliberately drop it down, keep my chest up. I'm like, bam, squeeze.
All biceps.
Yeah, but it's all in the feeling, squeeze. So you make a 20-pound feel like a 35 pound.
So you're actually squeezing when you're doing
Yeah, you're being intentional. You're gonna pull the grip, squeeze. So more emphasis in the muscle. So if you go with like a flat grip, then you're like, okay, Kurt. But if you keep a nice firm 4-finger grip like what I do, I could emphasize a mind to muscle connection on the bicep.
Okay. Now, do you think?
Do another one here.
Yeah, you got to get both sides. You're gonna be all.
When I overdo it. Yeah.
Do you think that it's the weight that you lift is more important, or is it the repetition?
Both. No, not really repetitions. It's how you execute. Yeah, or like how you one repetition. So you're gonna need a repetition for higher intensity level. So you're not gonna just pick this up and just do 2 and done.
Right.
You're gonna take your time and you use a weight that you could control and do the repetition until you feel that burn. And then for a shock at the end, you could take a heavier weight, and I call it creative cheating. Is you take a heavier weight, forming not all that, but you do put in the icing on the cake.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when people say like a lot of weight to like bulk, or a little bit of weight and a lot of repetition to cut, that's not.
Well, I call it muscle confusion. You gotta do both within its respectful, because you can build more muscle than the guy that's lifting more weight just by how you're lifting weight. because you have to be intentional. So if you're doing biceps, arms, you got to be like, which part of my arms am I working? My biceps. You don't want to do all this extra shoulder work and all this stuff, because I want my biceps to get majority of my work. So you will lift less because you're isolating the muscle than a person who is, oh man, I just lift more than that thing. I got probably on steroids.
Right.
This is not real. What you're doing is wrong. Is how you execute. Like chest, right? For example, you can go, chest is a pushing exercise, and you can be pushing all day long, but you see not much activation to my chest. But now if I think for say, I want my chest to push my arms forward. Then now, before I even push my arms forward, whichever pushing movement I'm doing, I'm already activated my chest. So my chest, you notice when the chest is moving my arms forward, rather than just
I can do that.
he just added 5 pounds. But look at that. So rather than just picking up the weight and just showing off of the movement, but when you leave the gym, you have nothing to show off. But if you go there in intention, you build in the gym, which you make your chest push your arms forward, then when you leave the gym, you still got something to show. You don't want, like I say this for years, right? You don't want to be that guy that live in the whole gym, and he go to the grocery store, Publix or whatever, and he has to literally tell someone that, I work out. Or you'll be a guy that's training 20 pounds, and you go to people like, you must have lifted the whole gym. In actuality, he's not even lifting quarter. We learn this as we age. Because when I was much younger, like 20s, we used to be like the 30s. Oh, ego, come to the gym. Let me figure what I can do. I was like, damn, I'm getting old. Feeling the arthritis. I said, nah, I want to see me as I am. So I'm getting lazy now. I'm gonna work hard.
Getting smart.
So I think, that's smart is a better word. So I can actually go to any grocery store, have some eggs in my hand, and you think I can lift a couple 100 pounds.
Yeah.
I'm walking with eggs.
Hey, if they grocery stores, is it pre-workout and post-workout? That's what I want to know about.
Pre-workout.
I want to know about that. Give us a good pre-workout meal and a post-workout meal.
Okay. Pre-workout meal depends, because I'll tell you my favorite pre-workout meal, and now it changes because according to our nutrition. Your food is actually, we use food, we eat to survive. But when we're talking fitness, it's more than just survival. If you have a goal for what type of physique you want, now your food become your supplement. So you eat according to what your goals are, what you're going to do, what kind of exertion. So for that, it makes sense. So for me to get my highest performance, this is talking about performance in the gym, not so much physique-wise. That's more of meal plan, nutrition, quality of macros. But for my highest performance meal, I'll have a bowl of oatmeal, between 70 and 80 grams, a tablespoon of coconut oil, 1 teaspoon of maca root, a couple milligrams of rhodiola, and I'm forgetting something. Fenugreek, all that for sterile too. I use all that 3. I put it in there, and the coconut oil for the fats help bond it. So I will eat that oatmeal, and sometimes I will throw in 80 to 100% of cocoa chocolate.
And that's pre-workout.
Pre-workout. So I'll put
What about post-workout?
Now, post-workout, because you already depleted your stores, you want something fast. Now, jasmine rice is my go-to. Not just white rice, jasmine rice. To me, jasmine rice is more beneficial than generic white rice. So I go with jasmine rice, or you could go Yukon potato. It's not just white potato. Yukon to me is better than the other potato. So it's more recommended wood. So it's go and it's better. And then
for the starches.
Yes,
You want to refill the stores and then
benefits the most of the starches. When you're filling the muscle back, starch is the muscle like the most. Overdo it. Especially in America, we overdo it. We overdo everything. That's window. Then we don't like the results. So but I'm building muscle, but a lot of fat and water retention from the high sodium. Keep your fats low in the refeed. Your post.
Yeah.
Where you want all that fat right now.
Yeah.
That is to me, the fats is like a traffic light that's not working well. It starts sending things where you don't want it to go. You could still have your sugars in that time, but you want to keep the protein relatively not too high, low in your post, but keep the carbs up and keep the fats. With that being said, if you notice, when I told you my pre, that's when my fats is up. And then after that,
That's
trickle it down. Yeah, I tend to get it done with, burn out, and then I trickle it down. And then you have to minimize the fat within the meals. You can't overload the meals with fat. And the rule of thumb for me, it would be 10 to 15 grams per week within your meals. I tend to go a little bit over 3-4 times a day. Keep the fats, for a guy, I would say no lower than 40, 45, and 60. And that's a good, I'm more around 30. If you want to be more like in a lean type of a little weight, unless you're a person that, how you you think a lot, use your mind a lot, your mind is exhausted, then you up your fats a little bit
Yes.
to kind of help you.
You know.
Yeah.
You two are smart
Brain's
guys.
a lot of fat. the brain's
Looks
a
can
lot
be
of fat.
deceiving, but I think you are.
Where can people find you guys?
In the gym.
Okay,
The gym is our barber shop.
the gym is your home. Well,
yeah,
assuming they're not in St. Croix, where can they find you guys?
Well,
our Facebook Twin Towers.
Facebook is Twin Towers.
And
our
Instagram, One
and
Heartbeat.
TikTok is One Heartbeat times
Times
two.
two.
So you got to spell it out. One Heartbeat X,
X.
number 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's us.
All right.
Send us a message. Not everybody at once.
Yeah. I'm telling you, these guys are amazing. They have a whole bunch of clients in St. Croix. They've got some really cool tips. Check out their social media. And we want to thank them for coming. I want to say we're going to do it again. We will, but we're going to have to fly you guys out again, but that's all right.
We can do it in St. Croix.
Oh, yeah. There you go. We'll do it in
No,
St. Croix.
that's something tropical.
Yeah, there you go. All right, there you go. Next time in St. Croix. All right, thanks, guys.
Clerks.
You gotta come on.
Oh yeah.
Hold on. I think we have to compare biceps. Come on. Let's
Oh,
compare
yeah, okay, let's do
biceps.
it.
Bicep
I'm
comparison.
Who's bigger? His is going to look like mine. Now, this appointment's almost done, but first it is what time?
It is time for the best anatomy, gross anatomy.
Gross anatomy. And this gross anatomy session of the week comes from India, where a 13-year-old boy began to have severe jaw pain. This was followed by jaw swelling and eventually a mass of the jaw. His parents freaked out, understandably, rushed him to the hospital. They thought the poor kid had cancer. He did not. However, they did an x-ray of the face, and what they found was a mass involving the jaw and the hard palate.
Upon examination, doctors discovered a large benign tumor, and within that tumor, hundreds of small, hard, tooth-like structures. The small teeth are sometimes known as odontoids or denticles. Specialists array them by size for further examination. The boy's medical condition is called compound composite odontoma, and it is so rare only a handful of people are known to have experienced it.
This poor kid had what's called an odontoma. It's basically a tumor that's made up of tissue that you would see in teeth, pulp, dentin, keratin. In his case, he had a complex odontoma, which means that it didn't just have this tissue in it, it actually had teeth.
And how many teeth did it have? I think that's the amazing area. 1, 2, 2 teeth.
232 teeth. Luckily, doctors were able to successfully remove the tumor. They were able to reconstruct the jaw. And as far as we know, he went on to live a healthy life. So that is this week's Gross Anatomy session. Now, this appointment's almost done, but before you head out, go to the reception desk.
And what? Make your appointment for what? The next episode of Second Opinion with the Twin Doctors. I'm Dr. Ryan.
I'm Dr. J.
And this has been Second Opinion with the Twin Doctors.